Yeah, we are live. So we can also go on mute till the time that it's for the next 4 5 minutes, and then we can. Yeah. Hi. Hey. Hi. We can start now. Let's start. You can hear me well,
Yeah,
right, Kapil?
absolutely. Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, great. Okay, thanks a lot, Kapil, for coming for this webinar. It's personally very inspiring for me to see and know your journey, which I do a little bit because we are part of the same groups and we did a feature on you guys. And I was quite actually mind blown by the fact that you've been able to grow a business and with such strong focus. And in fact, I would sort of infer one of the key visions to enhance livelihoods. So it's great, it's very inspiring, and I thought that more entrepreneurs need to know about it. So thank you
Yeah.
for coming, and without much ado, let's start. Kapil, tell us about yourself, about 5S Digital, and what it is that compelled you to start.
Oh, sure. So I think very, very, interesting journey this has been. Shreya, first of all, thank you so much for, having me here on this webinar. It's always good to, one, talk about FlexiBees whenever I talk in my circle, and two, again, talking to you. So, we started as a business, or rather as a social enterprise, in 2009. In fact, we just completed 12 years in the month of October, and the journey has been really exciting. We started with about, you know, I think about 12 people, uh, all coming in from rural background. We had no idea about, what we are going to do with them. It was just because the family wanted to, kind of support them because they had a very high level of self-esteem. So we just thought, okay, bring on some computers. Let's try and see if we can do something around with that. So I bumped into a very good friend of mine along with the family, and I got them introduced and got going from there on. Right. So first year was very bumpy, and then from there onwards, it's been just amazing. And while the family was continuing to run this as a more of a philanthropy, I was working hard to make sure that this philanthropy gets funded. Right.
Hmm.
So in 2016 is when I realized that. There was something bigger than just livelihood that we could do with FiveS. So
Hmm.
I left my job and came and started full time working with FiveS, coming all together from a technology and product background to a BPM or a services model. It's been just amazing. We are more than 2,200 people now. The only company in South Asia to be certified as a woman-owned business, largely owned by women. So that is a very special focus area for us. Unlike many other organizations where people say that there is disparity in wages, we have absolutely zero disparity. In fact, last Women's Day we announced that for certain roles we'll pay women more than what we pay to men, because we felt that they justify it much more than what we do. uh, and it's not just about the role, it's also about the empathy quotient that plays very important role. So I think that's how it has been, and today we are at about 40 to 43% women who are part of our organization. While we just celebrated about 12 years, we had three people who were 10 years plus into the organization. Now we were just 12 at that point of time, right? So, and four people already got 10 years award last year. So almost more than 70% people of those people are still with us, and uh, they were uh, they were not even graduates, right? So, and today they are talking and managing French and Dutch customers. So it's been fairly amazing, and I feel extremely proud of being part of this journey and leading this pack along with the rest of the family members.
Wonderful. That's so amazing, Kapil. And the fact that you saw potential to make it so much bigger than what it was at that time when your family started it. I think that made all the difference. And it's something that we at FlexiBees also believe that while there is a lot of merit in doing philanthropy on its own, there is it's a completely different level to make it sustainable,
Yeah.
in a way that it doesn't need somebody to have a philanthropic lens to make it to keep it alive. Yeah, it's a win-win solution at the end of the day that we are all looking for. So that's great. So tell us a little bit about the so diversity and inclusion. And in that sense, we perhaps would differ a little bit. For you would be more than just women. It, when I hear or read anything about you, it also talks of, other kinds of livelihoods that you're generating. So tell us a little bit about that. What does it mean for you guys?
Oh, absolutely. So I'll first talk about the customer side first. What do we do, right? And then I'll talk about whatever we do with what kind of people that we employ, right? So we are not just a contact center company. We're not a call center company only. We manage customer experience. We manage digital transformation. When I say digital transformation, we are doing RPA, right? And RPA, intelligent process automation. We are helping some of the customers with content moderation. We are helping them with AI, ML, data training related jobs. Now, these are not just bottom level jobs; these are mid level or even a notch above them, right? So, for example, none of our RPA developers are engineers, right? So, not even a single one, right? So, they all come from different background. They were just 12th pass and pursuing their education, graduation at this point of time. In terms of how do we do it and who does all these work, is basically, as I said, these kind of people who come in from different background. We work with NASCOM Foundation very closely to kind of look at how can we trigger reverse migration, right? And this was one of the trigger about 5-6 years back when we said, people are moving on to bigger towns. Let's try and see if we can bring them back. We've been able to do that fairly well. So when I say diversity, it's about not just in gender; it is also about various backgrounds that people come from. For example, many of the people who work with us here in Udaipur, where I'm located right now, they come in from nearby villages. Like Salumbar is a village. If you get 1 to 5 people, they all feel that they can bring in some more people because it really impacts their lives. There are people who couldn't pursue their education, so we are now contemplating rolling out a scholarship program which would take care of their education. And this is about impact, right? So when they come in, they are at certain skill set level. When they graduate from our organization, they are at a different education level. So that kind of diversity, people coming in from small villages, people coming in from various educational background, right? So during the COVID period, we did not lay off anybody, right? So wherein it was a very tough time, and we worked together as a family on that. So talking more on the diversity front, as I said, largely we have got women, we have got differently abled people, and then obviously, I think one of the taboo that Indian, subcontinent has is largely around, what about the third gender or gender-free workplace. So we thought about it a lot and said, what makes us different or what is going to make us different from anybody else in this space. So we just announced our first, diversity and inclusive center in Navi Mumbai, wherein we are going to have women, PWD, people with disabilities, third gender, and men all working under one roof, right? So I think for us, it is about delivering impact sustainably, which is engraved very much in our vision as well. So we are looking to make sure that we do our bit to make this world a better place to live for everybody who works with us as we grow.
Wonderful. I mean, I cannot think of another organization that is doing so much to, to do this holistically in such an inclusive way. I mean, there is so much talk about DNI. Every
Yeah.
organization talks about it, but a lot of times it's lip service and nothing more. So it's so heartening to hear that it's so core to you guys. But for the benefit of the entrepreneurs who will be watching it or watching it later,
Mhm.
I'm sure a lot of us want to do do something good. We want to do well, but we also want to do good. I think there is that underlying. In fact, entrepreneurship by definition perhaps has that at its core. But it must be difficult. And how do you balance business objectives with the objective of impact? Are there challenges, and how do you tackle those challenges?
Oh, absolutely. I think numerous challenges. In fact, if I have to count them on, right? So first and foremost, if you are operating in India, how do you go and tell your customer what do you do, right? So any, I don't remember. It would have been very easy for us to kind of tell them. you know what, we are impact sourcing member, we are focused on diversity and inclusion. It was just okay, but what are you going to deliver, right? So I think from a business perspective, we're very clear that we are not saying that we will deliver inferior quality or service to you when we work with the kind of people that we onboard, but it is about delivering same at par or even better quality with the kind of people we onboard, right? So I think there are a lot of challenges. One, even convincing the people who come to us and who would want to work with us. So it has never been easy. But what we realized is if it is a functions KRA, then it is going to be a fail for sure, right? So you are not going to get through. But if it is an organization's DNA, then everybody work towards it, right? So for us, it is not anybody's KRA. It is the way we operate. It is
Hmm.
engraved within us with every decision that we take, right? So it was initially very very difficult for us, but then we worked with Global Impact Sourcing Coalition. We built a framework in terms of how do we hire people, where do we hire people from, what all data do we capture about the people that we have, right? So I think that's something which is very very important. So we built into our HR processes. We built that into the kind of programs that we work on, including the timings of the work that we do. For example, for one of the initiatives we are working with you, right? So we've got a couple of people from FlexiBees. The objective was very clear that there is a kind of job for which we don't need somebody sitting right in front of us. The person can be anywhere as long as the productivity or the quality of delivery is not affected. So I think it's just about we starting to think that we are not compromising anything.
Hmm.
We are continuing to deliver what we are doing, but
Hmm.
it is just about the approach, right? So today, our HR, if you talk about, they do have difficult time managing all these data points, but if we are able to set up a framework well, then it is not that difficult. That's one from an internal perspective. Externally, I feel it is very important, and we are still, I think, about maybe 2 3 years away from when the Indian business ecosystem would start to accept DNI or impact for that matter, which is part of United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, right? Reducing inequality, talking about elevating people above the poverty line and all of that, right? So uh, while we are 2 3 years away, but we have already started measuring all of that, right? So for example, of the impact workers that we have got, which are close to about 1200 odd people, we have been able to bring 25% of those people who are the single bread earners in their families, right? So that means we have been able to lift them right from below the poverty line to above the poverty line, right? So we help them elevate themselves and their families above that line, which is always a mental barrier in front of youth. If you talk to them about, they feel that they're not worthy enough, they don't have enough resources. So I think it's very, very important that within the organization we have that DNA. Everybody talks the same language. And when in fact, when we announced this center in Navi Mumbai, and I spoke about this to one of our customers, they said that, hey, you know what, we would want to co-brand this location with you, right? So that's a slight ray, I would say, wherein you could see that change happening now. So
Yeah.
hopefully another 2 3 years it should be way more easier than what it is today.
Wonderful. And of course, it helps that you guys have built your business the way that you have. I mean, it's not a fledgling initiative. You have proven yourself both in terms of what you're doing on the impact side and in terms of how you guys have been growing. So, yeah, I'm sure you are going to yourself be instrumental in maybe changing some mindsets, right? So it happens like that. It doesn't happen in a vacuum. There are players like you which come and help people see what more they could do or how they could see do it differently. So and amazing. And we have a comment here actually which also resonated a lot with me when you said the difference between a KRA and the organizational DNA. It is such a huge one, and maybe that is what is that is what is not working when these large organizations take on these diversity initiatives. It is somebody's KRA, and many times not even the topmost person's KRA. And it gets treated as just one tick in the box, whereas the organizational DNA itself being different is a whole new ball game. And I especially resonate a lot with it because for us at FlexiBees, it is somewhat similar. We believe very much in flexibility as a very core concept of our existence. It's not just something that we are in fact offering to our clients. It's something that we believe in for ourselves, for our own selves as co-founders, for our business. Given that all of our people work flexibly, they work from different locations. They A lot of them work part time. A lot of them are women who are returning to work after a career break, and we see absolutely, we actually reap the benefits of it, apart from everything else. So that's my next question to you. That sorry, there is some little bit noise in my ecosystem because my kid is obviously at home and he's around.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. I
I
think we are all used to it now.
yeah, yeah. So that was going to be my next question. That apart from the fact that diversity, inclusion, the things you're doing are obviously good. I mean, there is no questioning those. Do you see that they are also good for your business?
Oh, absolutely. I'll talk about a very interesting study, okay, which very few people would know. We actually partnered with the University of California, Riverside, okay, and something very interesting came out. We talked about, and this is one of the reason, and this is also one of the criteria when we look for a location. We do a location based strategy. So when we worked with them, the researchers came down and we talked about, okay, how do we improve or benchmark the productivity of people? So we have a location in Udaipur, okay, and we have a location in Hubli, Karnataka. Now both are different locations, and there was a benchmarking done, and there were some changes being done in the way people were made to sit, the way people were made to work, the time of day, and everything, right? So what came out was very, very interesting, and you'll be amazed by that. The recommendation of the study was, if you are in Udaipur, make a boy sit to a girl next to a girl, okay, and their productivity will be high. Okay, diversity, a very important aspect. And we said, why is it so? Because in a place like Udaipur, opposite gender, they don't talk to each other too much, right? We did the same study in Hubli, Karnataka. The finding was, make a boy sit next to boy and girl sit next to girl if you want to build productivity in your environment. Now what did it really communicate? It actually communicated that diversity in every way is becoming very important in your work. Like if I have to bring better productivity, I need to have diverse workforce, and that too, the seating arrangement also is going to make a difference, right? So from a productivity perspective, our productivity is actually went up by about 16%. Okay, so when we made those changes, now it's just one thing. Second is, the moment you talk about diversity, inclusion, flexibility, beyond the productivity, there is an underlying statement. The input metrics is basically motivation. You look at somebody and you feel like, if this person can do so much, why can't I? And that pulls you off. I remember we had a girl named Gendi, and I've not really spoken about her too much, but she was suffering from polio. Okay, she came to our office. She found our office. She came down from an auto and walked about 200 meters to our office on her hands because she had polio. When she came and I interviewed her, I spoke to her. She said, and I felt like I felt disabled, right? Then I said, I'm so sorry you have to do all of that. What I'll do is that I'll because we had an office on ground floor and we had a sitting arrangement on first floor. The program for which we felt she would be fit, the team was sitting on the first floor, and I said, you know what, I'll make some arrangement for you to sit here. And she said that, don't make me feel disabled, right? So she said कि मुझे आप ऐसा मत समझो, मैं पहले माले में जाके काम करूंगी. The girl went and used to walk up on her hands to the first floor, up and down every day, right? 6 months later, this girl got herself a scooty, okay? And she was bringing a normal person like us as a pillion, right? So from that perspective, I think, and that motivated at least 20 other people to be more responsible. So I think that was one instance wherein diversity played a very very significant role, wherein everybody started respecting each other so much, right? Otherwise, people do not respect in today's time. We are talking about Gen Z right now, right? How do you make people respect you? So that happened. And today, like for example, in our technology team, half of the people are women, right? So and I'm working with Vibha, who's part of FlexiBees, and she has been just amazing. I'm like, we had a client call I think a few weeks back, and she was talking and nobody else was talking, right? And that basically reflected that it is not about whether you have a gap in your work or whether you are a different gender. It is just about bringing in the right value on table. And I felt it was so necessary. Unfortunate that there is not much of diversity in today's scenario, particularly in various organizations. Even at the board level now, MCA forces you to have one woman director. In our case, three promoters are women and two are men, right? Second, we have set ourselves a goal that by end of next year, across all the levels, we will be 50% women, right? So wherein and women, differently able people, it will be all diversity, because we feel that it kind of improves the mutual respect within the organization. At the same time, it makes people more responsible.
Yeah, wonderful. I mean, I am at loss of words for some of the stories that you mentioned, that you spoke of. Really, really moving. And I think actually what I was thinking when you were talking about them was, of course, there is this whole aspect of how people interact with each other and the kind of motivation and productivity it unlocks. But also, I mean, we have to look at talent as, a whole, as that includes the entire planet or the working population of the planet, because people bring such unique skills to the table. Somebody, just because they are, in your case, not differently able, doesn't mean that they aren't able to do sterling work. In fact, the motivation that they have to overcome some of their challenges and come to work itself ensures that they will bring far superior value than somebody who doesn't have those challenges, or at least there is that possibility. So from a very pure play business perspective, I think the world and or the world of business economies have so much to gain from having the entire gamut of human talent at their fingertips, and not restricting it to a certain profile that we've been doing actually for the last uh, many decades that work has been going. Literally, the sky is the limit in terms of where you could find talent, what form you could find talent in, and how they could work for you. That for us is always front and central. That we and this is something that I think about often. That it's something that can really really help unlock these very hard tangible gains as well. Great. And
Well,
so I mean, yeah, yeah.
no, cool. I think it's one from a business perspective. It's very important that we all realize, what's coming ahead of us, right? At the end of the day, it would be what you gain from the work that you do. Like for example, people are talking about respect at workplace, right? If it is all male dominated or all say women dominated, there'll be so much it will be all monotonous, right? So you need to make sure that you've got right mix of people, right ideas coming in. There are few things that women do exceptionally well. In fact, for our Navi Mumbai location, Srini, who is our CHRO, he just mentioned that, Kapil, you know what, I've got a team leader who is blind and he's going to run our BPO operations there. And I was like blown away. There are so many other senses that
Hmm.
people
Yeah,
have just
yeah.
beyond eyes, and if you're able to do that job well, I think it's just going to be inspirational. So I think it's something which has to come from within. Now each business would have its own goals, right? So when we were discussing this in our board, so we have Sushma Rajgopalan on our board. She was managing director and CEO ITC Infotech, right? And we've got Vikas Malpani, who was co-founder Common Flow. We were having this conversation, and he said, Kapil, what do you think, who we want to be as an organization, right? So we said that we want to be a technology-led organization, Having said that, we would be partnering our customers in their journey, helping them solve their customer problems. But we will do all of that while delivering impact in a sustainable manner, right? So when it becomes engraved in your vision statement itself, you know what, everyone starts to follow it. And then it's I keep talking this within our team. So I've got Bharat as a part of my core team, and he says that, Kapil, you know what, we've got stated intent of doing something. How do we translate that into a real work, right? When everybody starts to talk about it. So what we did was we just curated a platform within the team called Earth Samvad. Now, Earth Samvad is basically meaningful conversation. Now, this is a weekly conversation that happens within the organization. Everybody, right from a team leader to a senior most level person, they come on a call and they talk about how we can make this place a better place to work. What do you think we can do? How do we build, that place where people would learn to respect each other? And somebody has just asked, what is a very effective way to teach respect, right? So to a larger community, I think it's just about our day-to-day approach, the way we kind of look at somebody standing next to us, somebody cleaning our roads. It all starts from there, and being responsible ourselves. We're not bad people, right? So it's just about how do we behave in day-to-day lives. I think that's something which is very, very important.
Yeah. Yeah, and we can take a little bit of a detour to the comments. We are getting some good questions. So, yeah, what is a very effective way to teach respect and inclusivity to a large community, especially when it has to be done remotely?
I think it's just about this is a problem statement, right? So which we are still trying to figure out, and we've been talking this in our board as well. So Baba, who was chief operating officer with TCS, we are having a conversation. He said, how do you kind of build a culture while people work remotely, right? How do you ensure that you show growth to people while they're not in front of you? So absolutely, it's a problem statement which is very wide open. Having said that, if you have got the right communication channels, if you have this built in, if you have a recognition mode. So what we did was, in our organization, we created core principles. Okay, and we said that we are going to recognize core principles every week. So whosoever display those core principles while at work. I'll give you one very simple example. There was a girl in our Jamshedpur office. She got married. Okay, and the moment, and she was the only bread earner in her family. Okay, and her father somehow managed to get her married. And the moment she got married, the problem was that how would she feed her family? And she was expecting, right? And this was not during the COVID time. Okay, so somebody came and said, uh, what is the option? She came and she said that I cannot work because my husband has said that I cannot go to work anymore. I have to resign. And she was very sad about it. So normally in any organization from which does not have core principles would say, okay, fine, the person doesn't want to work, resign and leave, right? Because we know that, okay, you're not in a situation. But then looking at our core principle, wherein we said that, okay, winning together, performing with empathy, uh, was something which was very, very core to us. And then the manager asked, what is the real problem? And she started crying. She said that my family does not have anybody who can feed them, right? What this manager did, the manager could have said, okay, you leave. But what manager did was, manager went and spoke to her family, right? And when I say family, means her husband, and said that, what if we give her a system and she works from home? Okay, what if it is only once in a week she has to come to office just for downloads and discussion with the team, so that she is fairly okay? What if we give everything which is required? Can she work, right? And her husband agreed that if she is not required to go to office, I'm absolutely fine. We delivered machine to her home. And the team said that we would not compromise on performance, because you need to be understanding the fact that what background the person is coming from. And when I went to Jamshedpur, I met her, and she was like, she said, you know what, you just saved my family. Now, it did not take anything extra for us to do. It was just about asking the right question, taking the right decision within the core principles that we had laid down. So this manager said that I recommend my subordinate who identified this for the core principle, and we recognize that core principle, right? That, okay, you displayed core principle in your work, performing with empathy and winning together. wherein it was not just that we saved one person who could have gone away, but we also made sure that her family is not impacted adversely. She has been taken care of, as well as the organization retains a good talent,
Yeah,
right? So
yeah,
and I think that's how it works from a larger community perspective.
yeah, brilliant. And I have to say, whole families and societies benefit when women have the opportunity to work. And while it is a sad reality of even today that there are these situations where husbands are able to say that I don't want you to work. It's amazing that you all found a bridge, and in many ways that's what we are trying to do as well.
Yeah,
And what also strikes me about this example is that you live the core principles. I think I have been part of large organizations. I've known people who've been part of large organizations. It's very easy to put down a set of core principles, but it's so hard to live by those principles, especially when you are a 2000 people organization. It is not just you who has to live by them. It is your subordinates, and down the line people who feel the same way that you feel, and that's not easy to do. How have you, I mean, I know there is that you're recognized when people display that behavior. What else have you guys done to enable everybody to live your core principles the way they do?
very difficult, and I agree with you, right? So for example, somebody come and say that this is what you think. What matters is what the larger bunch of people think about it, and how do you communicate. I think it actually gets communicated very effectively with your actions. So with our team, right? So for example, the way I'll behave with my team, the team will start behaving with their teams. So I think that's something which is very, very important for us to kind of look at. So it was, and it continues to be a very difficult thing for us to reciprocate and communicate to the teams in terms of what we really believe in, because what we believe in and what we do are two different things. And to make sure that our actions are in line, what we do, as I said, that we have a weekly Arth Samvad channel wherein people do talk even around core principles. How are you going to take decisions? Is this the right thing to do? Right. So all those things become very, very important. So particularly, it starts from me or us as core leaders, wherein any issue or any problem. So see, are we all green? The answer is no. Do we have problems? Yes, we do have problems, because what I'm saying on top and what people at bottom are executing are possibly two different things. But how do I make sure that they understand? Because the maturity level at both the levels are fairly different. So I think, one, it has to be stated very clearly. Two, it has to be recognized. Three, it has to be practiced. And four, everyone should know. See, you start to believe what you start seeing too often, right? So and that's the way change happens. So if every time, every day, so we had this problem wherein people would come and say that I don't understand how this guy is taking decision. So the moment we laid down these core principles,
Mhm.
it was very clear. Put this answer into that core principle fitment, and whether
Mhm.
what you get is in line with what the organization believes in or not. And do that, right? So I think that's something which is very, very important. So like for example, what we do as a practice, even at times when we feel that it is not right, we communicate with candor to that person, saying that what, it could have been done this way, because if you look at the core principle, this is not the right thing to do, and the person admitting it, and it's right from top to bottom, and the behavior display would come bottom up automatically. So very difficult, challenging, but we are on a journey now, right?
Yeah,
So I'm sure that, because as we scale, the biggest problem in the impact space so far has been the scale. Nobody has been able to scale sustainably. We have been able to scale to this level, and we are looking to go 10x further, because we feel that the impact wouldn't be impact if we don't scale,
yeah,
right? So
yeah,
that's something that is very important. We
yeah.
are we are sailing through. Hopefully, we'll get there someday.
Wonderful. And we look up to you guys as an example and an inspiration for us here at FlexiBees.
Oh yeah, we continue to work together on that, right? So in fact, I was talking to Sanya a few days back, and the whole idea is, what are various roles that we could possibly hire from FlexiBees, because I think this is something which is very good. In fact, I referred a few people to FlexiBees as well, because I felt that it is very important that we all recognize at the end of the day, business needs outcome, and with all legitimate efforts being put in, integrity being maintained. If somebody is able to deliver that, why not? Right. So I think from that perspective, what you are doing and what we are trying to do, we are kind of almost on the same boat. In fact, somebody asked me, who are your competitors? I said, I don't see anybody as competition here, because everybody is solving the same problem, right? So there is no competition. I call them inspirations, or I call them peers, because competition is when I'm eating somebody else's pie. The objective here is to create impact, and if we are able to do it jointly, why not? Right? So, in fact, I was talking to head of strategy and alliances, Tech Mahindra Subhajit. So he's based out of New York, and he said that, Kapil, irrespective of whether I'm Techem or you are FiveS, if we are able to change some lives together, I think that matters. So at the end
Yeah.
of the day, world be a better place to live.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
and I mean that's how the markets behave. If one beauty company get does well and lists well, other beauty companies get funded. So hoping
yeah,
for a similar similar cascade effect in in other spaces as well. So we are working together to bring people's attention to the fact that there are
yeah,
many ways to solve for impact, and that it's a big big hairy problem, and worthy enough of having the best minds of every generation behind it.
yeah.
Amazing. So tell us, where does FiveS Digital go from here? We heard some of your plans. Tell us your other big plans.
Okay, very interesting. So we are soon looking at setting up a .inc, wherein we are looking to go west. We are looking at some of the areas beyond Indian subcontinent. Next year, we plan to have 3 or 4 more delivery locations, which will bring us close to some more people who do not have accessibility to jobs. We are partnering with various organizations who are working in similar direction, like we have partnered with you. We have partnered with Deshpande Foundation in North Karnataka. We have partnered with Anudeep Foundation in Northeast, right? So same way, in fact, just a while ago, there was another opportunity, and I just passed it on to my colleague Suman, that it's all about the partnerships working really well, right? So we are focused on partnership, impact partnerships. On the supply side, working with people who are coming from roots. That's one. From demand side, as I say, that we are going west. We are also looking at scaling up in India, looking at some of the Southeast Asian countries as well. And we feel that, because at the end of the day, impact will be really seen when it is done at scale, and you are able to bring smiles on some million faces maybe. But we are not thinking that far. But it looks like, if we do things right, another 3, 4, 5 years, we should be able to at any point of time positively impacting more than 10,000 families. So yeah, that's where we feel as an organization we are heading to.
Wonderful. And I love that you said impacting 10,000 families, because at the end of the day, that's what it is. It's
Absolutely. Yeah.
families, communities, and
Oh yeah, in fact, so
individuals.
you know what, I was thinking, there were some people who came to me and said that, what, this person left the company and started something on his or her own. I said, that's beautiful, that's amazing, because now the impact is going to get multiplied,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, so I think it's important for us to support such initiatives. So we measure it, right? So if somebody worked with us, where did that person go? Whether that was a much more skillful job or not, all of that. So I think it's very important that we talk about communities. People in West are already talking about it a lot, right? So I'm planning to come up with one. We have a session called Coffee Chat with FiveS, wherein I talk about some impactful stories every month. So I'm trying to bring in somebody from one of the top 5 internet companies, and also from IAOP, which is International Association of Outsourcing Professionals. So on board to kind of talk about what organizations can further benefit from these initiatives, particularly in Indian landscape, because a lot has been done in on the West. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's what it is.
wonderful. Great. It was great chatting with you, Kapil. I think
Yeah, go
we,
ahead.
I'll carry these stories with me for a long time. It's so amazing to meet somebody who speaks the same language, who has similar ideas about what they want to do, and we don't get to hear that often enough. So it's been great, and such a I can just imagine how energized the team is. Also, many of them are listening to you, how energized they are, and just creating positive ripples of energy all around. So very, very happy that you did this chat with us. Thank you for.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, Priya wanted to be here, but she couldn't be. But to all the ladies and everybody else who is on, this webinar or session, you all amaze us a lot. In fact, we just saw a great example a couple of days back, wherein Falguni and I are, self-made billionaire, you would say, right? So, but all of you do a great job, and I'm like, I'm in awe of what women bring on table, whether it is home or whether it is work. So congratulations to you, Shreya. Really a great amount of work and grit it takes to kind of bring in a platform like this. Be rest assured that I'll continue to talk about FlexiBees wherever I go.
Thank you so much. Thanks a
Yeah,
lot, Kapil, and we'll continue to look up to you for inspiration.
awesome. Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
Thanks,
Goodbye.
thanks
Bye. Thanks.
everyone. Bye bye.